Hi there, my name is Shireen.
And my name is Eliana. And we are here to talk to you about the Inclusive Judaism Project. So Shireen, what is Inclusive Judaism?
Inclusive Judaism is a Jewish Museum London project which seeks to diversify the images used when teaching Judaism in your classrooms and beyond.
What do you think of when you think of Judaism? Many people assume to be Jewish means to be an Orthodox Jew who is white-facing, who believes in God, eats kosher food, and has traditional beliefs. But actually, Judaism comes in so many different colours, shapes, and forms.
You can be Black and Jewish, LGBTQ plus and Jewish, a Jew who does not believe in God but loves their culture and heritage, a Jew who practices veganism but does not adhere to the kosher laws, or a Jew who speaks Hebrew, Arabic, and more. It is important that we teach Judaism as inclusively and authentically as possible.
To teach Judaism inclusively means that the Jewish community is represented authentically. Students truly understand what it means to be Jewish, and we are able to connect to each other's experiences with compassion.
Now, at the Jewish Museum London, we have over 40,000 objects, all which represent the Jewish community in Britain.
As part of the Inclusive Judaism Project, we are collecting a range of contemporary images from many individuals that make up today's vibrantly diverse Jewish community.
All images fall in line with primary and secondary curriculum as we focus on collecting images that represent festivals, life cycle events, and the synagogue.
All images are available to you as teachers to download and use in your classrooms. So when teaching Judaism, you can be confident that you are teaching inclusively.
But now, let's hear from Rabbi Dr. Jonathan Romain and Rabbi David Mitchell to learn more about why inclusive Judaism is so important. Over to you, rabbis.
Hi, I'm Rabbi David Mitchell. I'm one of the co-senior rabbis at the West London Synagogue of British Jews. It's 181 years old, the synagogue, and it's the oldest progressive synagogue in the UK. I'm a gay man and have been married to my husband for many years. We had the first same-sex ceremony in a Reformed synagogue in 2005.
I'm Jonathan Romain. I'm a rabbi at Maidenhead Synagogue, which is in Berkshire, and we have a lot of mixed faith couples as well as Jewish couples and single people and gay members. So it's a very inclusive community. I'm also a writer, a campaigner on social issues, as well as being a dad and a football fan.
My Judaism is a house with many rooms, starting with my childhood, which was very Orthodox, and the beloved sense of Judaism that was passed on to me by my grandparents, who were Holocaust refugees. Then my Judaism took a different turn at university when I started to discover progressive Judaism and critical thinking. And my Judaism again evolved when I decided to become a Reform rabbi. And now my Judaism looks like my community, a space that's truly diverse with all kinds of people there, all finding different ways to be Jewish, whether they believe in God or not, but making their way to be part of a community and doing their bit for Judaism. After all, Jewish life is about culture as well as faith. And that for me is incredibly important, that Judaism is a home for many people and a place where I too have found my own home.
Judaism for me is a way of life, but a very much a multi-coloured way of life. So it's not just about faith, which is why there's lots of atheist Jews or agnostic Jews in my community, but it's also because they relate to not the faith, but the history, the culture, a set of values. So it's a guide for personal direction, for family life, and for communal belonging.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted that inclusive Judaism is being taught, not least because Rabbi Jonathan and I wrote the book together called Inclusive Judaism for that very reason. We wanted to get the message out there that the images people see of Jews, sometimes a traditional ultra-Orthodox Jew that you might see on Shtisel on Netflix or something like that, that's not the only type of Judaism. There are so many different varied approaches to being Jewish, and indeed many and different varied types of Jews, that it's critical that the world understands that diversity.
There is no one version of Judaism. That's just a statement of fact. It's based on Jewish history and the different movements and different trends throughout the centuries. I mean, Abraham wouldn't know what to do in a synagogue if he came back to life. Moses would find Jewish life totally alien to him today. And it shows that there's many ways of being Jewish, whether it's religiously, socially, culturally, and it's a house with many doors. All of those doors should be wide open, and they should each have the welcome sign on them.
So I would like to encourage you to think about the question of who is and who isn't in the synagogue, and who is and who isn't speaking, and what is it that they are and perhaps aren't saying. Because when you do that, you realize not just the diversity of Jews, you also realize that not every Jewish space is as inclusive. And you also begin to realize that even within places that call themselves inclusive, you get a sense that maybe there are some issues that people aren't talking about. An example of that is the way that Jonathan, years and years ago, started championing the fact that Jews and the people they fall in love with who may not be Jewish deserve to also be in the prayer room. And so when you start looking at who is and isn't in the room, you start to better understand the true tapestry that is the Jewish community.